Legends. Today we are going to be continuing our study of water in the world and actually revisiting a group of people from the Philippines, Indonesia area who really embody that term water world, the Bajau people. I hope I pronounced that right. And today we're going to be focusing on comparing and contrasting. Now, our learning goal for today is that students compare the value placed in water by themselves, Australia generally, and the Bajau people of the Philippines. Students then contrast these values, identifying how their value or how the values differ. So we are comparing and we are contrasting, and the things that we are comparing are the values of Australia and ourselves, and the value of the indigenous Filipino people that live on the ocean, and seeing how they are similar and how they're different as well. So why are we doing this? We're doing this so that we can understand that the way water is valued in the world is a diverse thing, and how it can change depending on how we live and where we live. And what I'm looking for is a clear demonstration of the similarities and differences of value towards water. And I'm going to show you how you're going to show me that later on in this lesson. So first of all, as a class, what I want you to do is to discuss the economic, aesthetic, cultural, and spiritual value of water. Now, you should have done 2 Education Perfect tasks that go into this in quite deep detail about the value that Australia has, as well as the value of some parts of Asia as well. So pause the video now, and with your teacher, discuss the economic, aesthetic, cultural, and spiritual value of water. Alright, the next step is to discuss and summarize what the life of the Bajau people is like. So you should have seen a documentary on these people from week 1. If you haven't, what I want you to do right now is to rewatch this brief video and then to have the discussion. Now, if you're working from home, you obviously can jump onto ClickView and have a look at that video once more. It is very fascinating and you'll learn a whole lot. Alright, step 4. What is comparing and contrasting? That is the point of what we are doing today. Comparing, or to compare, refers to the process of identifying the similarities and differences between 2 things. On the other hand, contrast refers to identifying only the differences between 2 things. And while distinction between these two terms may appear on the surface to be quite subtle, it doesn't seem like a big deal, it is important that we accurately differentiate between these 2 concepts to ensure that we are able to answer questions and prompts accurately. So if we're ever asked to contrast, the person asking the question and asking for our answer only wants the differences, does not want us to go over the similarities. Whereas if we're asked to compare, then what we are asked to do is actually to identify the differences as well as the similarities. Today we're going to be comparing and contrasting, but really we could just say compare. But I do want you to find differences as well, so that is why I've included it in the title. Now, hopefully you're familiar with 2 circles that have a crossover in the middle, also known as a Venn diagram. Today we are going to be doing an activity that requires us to complete it, but because we're not printing work out for you at the moment, I've actually done it as a table just so it's easier to type in. But if you don't know, a Venn diagram is designed so that you can organize information visually, so that you can see the relationship, or you can demonstrate to someone the relationship between 2 or 3 or 4, sometimes 5 sets of different things. Today we're just going to be comparing 2 different sets of things. 1 circle here, 1 circle here. Now this area in the middle, what that does is it shows where these 2 circles overlap. So for instance, if I was to compare my favorite pet with Mrs. Cochrane's favorite pets, maybe I would have puppies over here, she would have something over here, and in the middle we might have a pet that we both think is good, and that would be showing the differences as well as the similarities. Sorry, Mrs. Cochrane, for involving you in my lesson. So as a class, what I want you to do right now is to pause this video, have a look at the Word document that I have uploaded on this lesson, and compare and contrast the value placed on water by the Bajau people economically in comparison to Australian society. So in terms of economics, finances, business, the economy, how does Australia value water, and how does the Bajau people value water? How important is it? How unimportant is it? What I want you to do is write any contrasting items in each of these individual columns. Now that US is for us, not for the United States. And so I want you to write down in this column anything that is unique to just the Bajau people, and anything in this column that is unique just to us in Australia, or just to you in particular. And then in this column here, this purple column, which is kind of between blue and orange, I want you to write down anything that crosses over between both sets of people, both societies and cultures. Now, just for economic as a class, and then once you have done that, what I want you to do is to move on to completing the rest of that sheet on your own. So complete the next two sections regarding culture and spiritual value, as well as aesthetic value, and then upload your work to iLearn. All right, I hope you have learned about how value placed in water changes as we look around the globe. If you have any questions, make sure to send me an email, send your teacher an email, check into our Zoom lesson for this week. If you've enjoyed, guys, and I will see you soon.